What if that sleek, quote unquote free point of sale system sitting right there on your checkout counter is actually like quietly costing your business hundreds of dollars a month?
Yeah. It is a scenario that is literally playing out in thousands of small businesses right now.
Right.
And the hidden costs are completely masked by the way these platforms market themselves,
Exactly. Because if you are running a business right now in 2026, or, maybe you're planning to start one, you have probably found yourself staring at one of those just endless scrolling feature grids online.
Oh, the feature grids.
Right. Just row after row of green check marks and red X's. And they look incredibly official. They make you feel like, okay, I am doing my due diligence.
Right, I'm doing the research.
Yeah. But they somehow completely fail to actually tell you which platform is built for the specific way you do business.
Well, because feature grids are, they're designed to give you the illusion of transparency.
Yeah. Like, they show you what a platform theoretically has, sure, but they completely hide the structural mechanics of how those features actually operate when the system is under stress.
Which is exactly why we are just tearing up the feature grid today.
Yes, let's do it.
So if you're listening to this and you're feeling totally overwhelmed by the endless, Shopify versus Square debate, you are in the exact right place. We are doing a deep dive into a really comprehensive July 2026 breakdown of these two giants.
And we are not just reading you the pricing tables. That's not the goal here.
No, we are trying to extract the actual architectural ceilings, the exact break-even math, and those structural traps that are just hiding right behind those little green check marks.
Yeah, the kind of traps that will absolutely cost you weeks of agonizing migration work down the road if you don't spot them right now.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand where those traps are hidden, we can't look at the marketing, right?
No, you have to look at the foundational code, the DNA. Right, because most people just assume Shopify and Square are, that they're basically two slightly different flavors of the exact same thing.
Like a unified commerce product.
Right. But historically, they were built from entirely opposite ends of the retail spectrum.
Yeah, they really were. Shopify at its core is a commerce engine, right? It was built as a digital store first, and then basically later on, they attached a physical cash register to that store.
Right.
Square is the exact opposite.
Completely.
Yeah. Square is a payments company. It was built as a digital till, literally a physical piece of plastic that you plugged into a phone.
Oh, man, I remember those little white squares.
Right. And then eventually, they attached a website builder to that till.
Okay, so it's kind of like the difference between buying a fully furnished house that just happens to have a cash box sitting on the kitchen table versus buying a really, really expensive high-tech cash register that someone later tried to build a camping tent around.
Honestly, that is the perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because the foundational structure literally dictates what the machine is actually good at.
And it dictates their entire pricing philosophy, right?
Exactly. Shopify prices the store, they charge a subscription for the digital engine, and they treat your physical in-person locations as an add-on.
Right, whereas Square prices the location.
Yes. They treat the online store as just another feature of that physical in-person till.
Because Square's original product wasn't even really software, it was just processing a swipe.
Exactly. And that asymmetrical DNA, it actually explains a massive detail from the source material regarding how they handle outside payment providers.
Oh, this is huge. Let's look at Shopify first. So if you want to use a different payment gateway, like say you have a legacy relationship with a specific processor and you want to keep them.
Right.
Shopify allows it, but they charge you a penalty fee of up to 2% on their basic plan.
Yeah, so they penalize the choice, but the software architecture still fundamentally accommodates it. Now, you look at Square. There is absolutely no penalty fee for using an outside payment provider on Square's online checkout.
Because they just ban it entirely.
Exactly.
Right.
They simply don't allow it at all. The checkout routes through Square methods only.
Wow.
And if you think about their DNA, you understand why,
Right.
Square is a payment processor first. If they allow you to use a different payment processor on their own platform, they lose their core revenue stream.
Right, whereas Shopify is a software company first.
Exactly. They make their baseline revenue on your monthly subscription so they can afford to let you use someone else.
Yeah.
They'll just tax you for the privilege.
One taxes your choice and the other literally just removes it entirely.
Yeah.
So if we follow this logic to the actual monthly bill, we really need to clear up the 2026 math. Because there is this incredibly persistent conventional wisdom out there.
Oh, especially for like new pop-ups and cafes.
Yes, everyone says, well, Square is free and Shopify is expensive.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that that conventional wisdom officially died back in late 2025.
Right.
Square completely overhauled its packaging in October of 2025. They took, I don't know, about 18 different overlapping a la carte subscriptions and just folded them into 3 main plans.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have the Square Plus plan at $49 per month per location and Square Premium at $149 per month per location.
But hold on, let me play devil's advocate for the listener here. The free tier does still exist on Square, right? Like, I can still go to their website and sign up for $0 a month.
You can, yeah. But earlier that same year, in February 2025, Square quietly changed the economics of that free tier.
Right.
They increased the fixed portion of their in-person swipe fee from 10 cents to 15 cents.
Okay, let me just push back here, because if we compare the entry-level tiers for in-person transactions, Shopify Basic charges 2.6% plus 10 cents a swipe.
Right.
Square Free charges 2.6% plus 15 cents a swipe. We are talking about a literal nickel here.
I know.
Are you really telling me that a 5-cent difference per transaction is enough to justify taking on a $39 monthly subscription for Shopify Basic?
Well, a nickel feels completely negligible, right? Until you multiply it by the actual velocity of a real business.
Okay, fair.
And the source material actually gives us the exact crossover point here.
Mm-hmm.
The math tells us that at exactly 780 in-store transactions a month, that 5-cent penalty you're paying on Square's quote-unquote free plan completely covers Shopify Basic's entire $39 monthly fee.
Wait, let me do that math in my head. 780 transactions a month. That's only about, 26 swipes a day?
Exactly.
If you are running a busy local coffee shop, you are hitting 26 swipes before, 9 in the morning.
Oh, easily.
So you might literally be losing money by clinging to the free plan.
Precisely. The hidden cost of free is volume. But the real financial separation, it actually happens when you move online. So online, Square's free tier charges a 3.3% transaction fee. Shopify Basic charges 2.9%.
So Shopify has a 0.4% advantage online.
Yes. And here's the core mechanism that every listener really needs to hold in their head when analyzing software costs.
Okay.
Square's advantage is a fixed monthly saving, right? You are saving that $39 subscription fee.
Mm-hmm.
Shopify's advantage is a percentage saving on your volume. And a fixed saving will always mathematically eventually lose to a growing percentage saving as your revenue scales.
Because the percentage scales with you.
Exactly. So the only question for your specific business is just when that flip happens.
Okay, so let's actually model a real business for you listening right now.
Here.
What are the hard numbers for a standard hybrid merchant? Like, let's say a local boutique doing maybe $12,000 a month in physical in-store sales.
Okay, so at that $12,000 in-store baseline, the math actually flips to Shopify being the cheaper overall platform the very moment that boutique hits $6,000 in monthly online sales.
Oh, wow. So at $6,000 online, Shopify's cheaper 2.9% rate just completely overtakes the burden of its monthly fee.
Exactly. It just overtakes it.
That happens shockingly fast if your digital footprint is growing at all.
It really does.
But I have to imagine there is a scenario where Square's model still wins, right? Like, what if my business doesn't look like a high-volume coffee shop or a boutique?
Oh, absolutely. The massive exception to this rule relies entirely on your average ticket size.
Okay.
If you average over $50 per in-person transaction, the math fundamentally changes.
Wait, really? Walk me through why that happens.
Yeah. So at that higher ticket price, upgrading to Square Plus, which has a 2.5% rate plus 15 cents, that actually beats Shopify Basics 2.6% plus 10 cents.
I think I need an example.
Okay, so when you sell a $5 cup of coffee, right, that flat 15-cent fee just eats you alive.
Right, because 15 cents on $5 is a lot.
Exactly. It's a huge percentage of the total sale.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are selling a $2,000 custom sofa,
Oh, I see.
right,
Yeah.
that flat 15 cents is mathematically irrelevant. What matters on a $2,000 sale is the percentage WAC. Square Plus drops that percentage to 2.5%, while Shopify sits at 2.6%.
So on high-end items, that 1/10 of a percentage point in savings matters immensely more than the extra nickel.
Yes. Your average ticket size is the single most important metric to bring to this whole decision.
That is fascinating. So if I'm selling high-end furniture or bespoke jewelry or, I'm running a specialized salon where the average checkout is 150 bucks, Square actually claws back the financial advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, even with all this math, the most important takeaway from the July 2026 data isn't actually about the monthly bill at all.
No, it's not.
It's about what the source material calls hard ceilings. Yes. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because these are the structural limits baked into the platforms that no amount of money on a higher tier is ever going to fix.
Right. This is where we leave the feature grids entirely.
It's like, imagine renting this incredibly beautiful high-traffic storefront, and you're thrilled with the rent. But then the landlord tells you in the lease that you are legally never allowed to stock more than 250 items on the shelves.
Oh, right.
And you aren't even allowed to pick the font on your own open sign in the window. You can't just pay them more to change the rules. You're just stuck.
That is the perfect definition of a structural ceiling. And that 250 number, that is not an exaggeration.
No, it's real.
Square has an absolute hard limit of 250 variations per item, period.
Wow.
And that limit applies across both the physical register and the website. It is a fundamental infrastructure limit.
But wait, why does that limit even exist in 2026? Like, memory is cheap.
It goes all the way back to that DNA we discussed earlier, right?
The till.
Exactly. Square was originally built for a physical iPad sitting on a cafe counter.
Right.
The database was optimized for a barista just tapping, large iced oat milk.
Right, a super flat menu structure.
Right? Yes. But Shopify was built as a digital catalog, designed from day one to handle massive, multi-dimensional relational databases. So Shopify's limit is up to 2,000 variants per product.
I mean, if I'm an apparel brand, that 250 limit on Square is terrifying.
Oh, it's a deal breaker.
Right, because if I have a single t-shirt and it comes in 5 fits, 5 sizes, and 5 colors, it's 125 variants for one single shirt design.
Yep.
I add one more style, and I have literally broken the platform's infrastructure.
And you can't pay Square a higher monthly fee to fix it. That's a hard ceiling.
Right.
And another massive one is currency.
Oh, this one is wild to me.
Yeah, Square's risk modeling is deeply, deeply tied to the domestic banking system that you choose at sign-up. So your entire account is permanently locked to that single currency.
Mm-hmm.
It plainly states in their documentation that charging customers in another currency is just not available.
So wait, if my US-based business goes viral on TikTok and suddenly a huge chunk of my traffic is coming from the UK or Canada, I can't just let them check out in pounds or Canadian dollars.
You can't. If you want to sell internationally in a second market with localized currency, you have to open an entirely new, separate Square account.
That would completely fracture your business operations.
It really does.
And I mentioned the font on the open sign earlier. I wasn't just being dramatic with that analogy, was I?
No, you were referencing another structural ceiling. Square literally locks the checkout font across all of its hosted e-commerce sites.
But why would they care what font I use on my own website?
Because Square uses a universal, standardized checkout template to optimize their own security and conversion metrics.
Okay, I guess that makes sense for them.
Right, for them. The checkout page will inherit your brand's colors and your button styles, but the typography itself is totally locked by Square.
Man, for a brand-led storefront like, hey, a high-end cosmetics line where typography and visual identity are literally everything being told you cannot control the look and feel of the final, most crucial step where the customer actually hands over their credit card. That creates immense friction.
Yeah, absolutely. And this naturally brings up the question of extensibility.
Right.
Because normally, when you hit a ceiling on a software platform, your immediate instinct is to just go to their app store and find a third-party plugin to fix it.
Right. There's always an app for that.
Except the sheer scale of the ecosystems here is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Square's ecosystem has a respectable footprint. Nearly 1,000 partners with integrations.
Okay, 1,000 is not bad.
It's not bad. But Shopify, as of December 2025, they had over 21,000 apps.
Wow, 21,000.
Yeah. So if a capability isn't native to the core platform, the statistical odds of a developer having already built an app to solve your hyper-specific problem are vastly different.
Okay, so let's put ourselves in the shoes of you, the listener, right now. You're hearing about these hard ceilings on Square's online store, the variants, the currency lock, and you're hearing about the monthly subscription fees on Shopify. The incredibly obvious solution seems to be, Well, why not just use both?
Right.
Can't I just duct tape them together? Like, run my physical counter on Square to keep my existing hardware and avoid that monthly fee, and put my heavy lifting digital website on Shopify.
It is an incredibly common thought process, and honestly, many merchants land there by accident.
Right.
But let's look at the true operational reality of running that kind of hybrid setup.
Let's do it.
Square actively advertises a sync integration using a third-party app called Thrive. But the way it's marketed doesn't really tell the whole story.
Because it's not free, is it?
No, Thrive isn't a native free feature. It costs money, starting at $59 a month.
Okay, so wait. The cheapest possible setup to duct tape them together is actually $98 a month, because you're paying $39 for Shopify Basic, $0 for Square Free, and $59 for the Thrive Bridge just to keep them talking to each other.
Yes. And the kicker is, they don't even talk to each other perfectly.
What do you mean?
The sync only covers your catalog and your inventory. That means you are managing two completely separate customer lists.
Oh, no.
You have two separate order histories.
Which means at the end of the month, I am sitting at my kitchen table at midnight, exporting CSV files from 2 different platforms, trying to manually reconcile my books because the data doesn't perfectly match.
Exactly. You are literally paying $98 a month for the privilege of doubling your manual labor.
That is brutal.
It is. But you know what? The dual system headache isn't even the biggest hidden risk here.
Really? What is?
We have to talk about offline payments.
Oh, yes, this is a huge selling point for Square, right? The ability to take a credit card swipe even when the Wi-Fi in your store completely drops. I mean, it is a total lifesaver for a busy retail spot.
It is, yes. But who actually carries the financial risk when you swipe a card without an active internet connection? Because the system obviously can't verify if the card has funds right in that moment.
Well, the assumption is always that the multi-billion-dollar payment processor handles it, right?
Yeah, that's what everyone assumes. But Square's own documentation is very direct about this. The merchant is responsible for any expired, declined, or disputed payments that are accepted while offline.
Wait, really?
Yes.
So if my internet goes down and I just keep serving a line of 30 people to keep the rush moving, and then 3 of those cards are maxed out or declined when the Wi-Fi finally comes back on Square, it doesn't cover that.
No.
I just lose the money and I've already given away the product.
Yes, because without an internet connection, there is no real-time authorization. The processor is not going to take on the risk of an unverified card.
I mean, that makes sense for them, but wow.
And there is no published dollar cap on offline takings either, only time limits. Your financial exposure is entirely uncapped. It is whatever volume you accept during that offline window.
It fundamentally shifts the risk from the tech giant onto the local business owner. Okay, so let's say I realize this duct tape solution is too expensive and way too risky. Or, I simply outgrow my chosen platform and I decide I need to migrate my entire business to the other system.
Right, migration.
It's 2026, it's my business, it's my customer data. It should just be a matter of clicking an export button and moving my stuff. Right.
Yeah. This is perhaps the most heavily obscured truth we uncovered in the whole deep dive.
Yeah.
Migration between these platforms is not a bridge. Structurally, it is a one-way street.
But how can data only flow one way? It's just ones and zeros.
It comes down to platform incentives and really who builds the tools.
Okay.
If you are moving from Square to Shopify, Shopify has built an official store migration app. It natively understands Square's data structure.
Because they want to win you over.
Exactly. It imports your products and your customers in just a few clicks. Because Shopify wants to aggressively capture those physical retail merchants, they built an automated on-ramp.
Okay, that makes sense. And if I decide Shopify is totally overkill for my business and I want to go the other way, like from Shopify down to Square.
Square has absolutely no Shopify-aware importer. None.
Seriously, none at all.
None.
So what is the actual process for the business owner then?
Well, you have to export your Shopify data as generic, raw spreadsheets. Then you literally have to manually reshape those files to perfectly match Square's exact column schema.
Oh, that sounds awful.
You're sitting there manually changing column headers, realizing your Shopify tags don't map to Square's category system, and anything that doesn't fit neatly into Square's predefined structure.
Let me guess. You just lose it.
You drop the data on the floor and have to rebuild it manually.
That sounds like an absolute nightmare. But okay, to be fair, even with Shopify's official migration tool going the other way, it's not totally seamless either, is it?
No, it is not. Even moving from Square to Shopify, your order history and your customer reviews do not migrate automatically. But the most jarring restriction, the one that really gets people, involves your customer's payment data, specifically cards on file.
Oh, yeah. This is critical for anyone running a subscription box or a membership model or like a B2B business with standing orders.
If you want to export your customer-stored credit cards from Square, it is an incredibly arduous, completely unautomated
How
process.
bad is it?
It takes up to 2 weeks. It involves literal human intervention at Square, and they will only transfer that data to another quote-unquote level 1 PCI processor.
Wait, level 1 PCI processor. For the listener who isn't, a payment compliance expert, what does that actually mean for their Tuesday afternoon?
It basically means you cannot just download an Excel spreadsheet of your customer's Visa numbers to your laptop.
Right, which is good for security.
Exactly. A level 1 PCI processor is a heavily audited, fortified digital vault. To move credit cards, Square's Secure Vault has to manually and securely handshake with Shopify's Secure Vault.
Hmm.
It requires coordinating secure transfers between actual compliance teams.
Which means if your business relies on repeat clients where you just, you know, charge a card on file without a full checkout leaving your platform is a massive, highly scheduled bureaucratic project.
Very much so.
It is not just clicking an export button on a Tuesday.
Exactly. It forces you to realize just how deeply embedded you become in these ecosystems. Which really brings us to the most critical takeaway from all this data.
The bottom line, and looking at this comprehensive breakdown, the core philosophy we've extracted for you is this. Choose your platform based on its ceiling first and its fees second.
Absolutely.
If your catalog is complex, if your checkout needs strict brand control, or if you have international ambitions that hit Square's structural limits, the 250 variants, the locked fonts, the single currency, then the pricing math honestly just does not matter.
It doesn't.
You will outgrow it, and as we just established, moving is painfully difficult.
And this is but Shopify is not the automatic winner here.
Right.
If you were listening to this, you really, really need to look at your own average ticket size. Because if you are a single-tilled retailer or an appointment-led business like a high-end salon or a physical retailer with an average ticket size well over $50 Square, genuinely might be the most cost-effective and efficient bet for your specific business.
You really have to know your own operational DNA before you try to match it to a platform's DNA.
Precisely.
And that brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today, something to mull over that builds on this entire idea of migration friction.
Okay.
We've spent a lot of time talking about swipe fees and feature grids today, but think about how purposefully difficult it is to move your own customers' stored credit cards or order histories between these platforms.
Yeah, that friction is absolutely there by design.
Right. As these tech giants continue to consolidate in 2026, we really have to ask ourselves, are they building platforms designed to help you sell more effectively? Or are they building walled gardens designed to make the operational cost of leaving so high that you never will?
Wow. Yeah.
In the digital age, when your data is locked behind a 2-week manual vault-to-vault transfer process, who really owns your customer relationships? Is it you? Or is it your payment processor?
That is the single most important question a merchant needs to answer before they sign the terms of service, rather than waiting until the day they try to leave.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking the tough questions, keep looking past those glossy feature grids, and we will catch you next time.